Orgullosos del creciente papel de la mujer en México y de su liderazgo en los distintos organismos y rubros de negocios, en HSM decidimos convocar a 6 mujeres que están haciendo historia. Queremos escuchar de su viva voz cuáles son los retos que han tenido que vivir para estar en donde están. Testimonios que sin duda servirán de inspiración en el quehacer de cada uno de los aquí presentes. Con mucho gusto presento el panel de mujeres líderes de México.
Amante absoluta de México y de su cultura, María Teresa Arman de Arango es la pionera del nuevo Museo de Arte Popular y una luchadora incansable por el reconocimiento del arte mexicano alrededor del mundo. Isabel Gómez es la presidenta de la Fundación Emisión, cuyo objetivo es el de promover...
The objective is to promote the use of bioenergy in the world, and she has close relationship with the government, and she has efficacious policies to better use natural resources. Lisbeth Hasfield is the only Mexican woman with such a huge position in the financial sector. She analyzes opportunities in the market, and she has become a peculiar woman in Mexico. She is one of the main markets at a world level. Cristina Pineda is a young entrepreneur that together with Ricardo Covalin created one unique company, Pinedo Covalin, brand inspired in the pre-Hispanic culture and contributes to disseminate the cultural heritage of our country. Leader in social projects in Mexico, Marinela Cerviche is director and president of the Papalote Museum, the Children's Museum, and she also works for the Chapultepec Forest Preservation. She promotes the growth of Mexico. And she's one of the most well-known analysts in Mexico, Ana María Salazar, political advisor for the White House. Her experience makes her an opinion leader. How do you exercise your leadership in your daily lives? Cristina, you're a business leader. You created a very successful company. I'm sure that many of the people here know your products. Many actually buy your products as gifts for their friends. So how do you exercise your business leadership on your daily life? Speaking about leadership is speaking about passing on these leadership ideas to the others so that others believe in you and in what you are doing. I believe this is a huge responsibility, and I believe that leadership is not for everyone. It is a matter of believing in what you do. Sometimes, whenever you are creative, you sort of try to be dealing with different subjects, so this is very enriching for the people that are with you, and also empowering people. How do I exercise leadership in my daily life with big deal of happiness? Very few people have the they like. Do not like what we do, things are not the same.
Mucha alegría y con muchos, ya saben qué.
With a lot of courage. And, you know, grabbing the bull by the horns or the cow by the horns. Cristina is mentioning very important concepts when talking about leadership. Basically, you're speaking about a vision. This is what you want and how to pass this vision to others and pass this leadership spirit to others, how to pass on this vision to others. What you're saying, despite might seem very simple, that calls for us to be disciplined and to say and to state that we want to learn. I believe that's the first step forward. First, you need to be convinced that you need and you want to learn. First, you need to want to have leadership tools that probably you need, and what you have, you can improve on that, and that you can help the others. So just by becoming aware of that, that's an important step forward. I don't know what you think, Cristina. I believe that... Can you raise the volume, please? More than observing and watching, I think you have to make many mistakes many times. And this is what learning is all about. sometimes we just stay static because we're afraid of doing things. But one of the things that have worked for us is just to be willing to make mistakes and to go for it, because you learn a lot from that. So it's a matter of taking risks, yes, getting some advice, but just go and doing it. I don't know what you think.
And in particular, those that exercise their leadership. Are there people that you would like to highlight? Who would we be without men? And I think that there are so many persons that I admire. I admire anyone who is a creative artist, because they bring joy to life. They bring music, a different tone to life. You know, I'm not talking about our politicians or ill speaking about our politicians, but music and art and all the people that are dedicated to create beautiful things, I think we have to admire it. I would like you to tell me if there's any difference in the way of exercising your leadership. Are you replicating male models, or is there any special way of exercising your leadership as women? And it calls my attention that you're not talking about some women that we, of course, should admire, because with no doubt there are so many. Well, thank you very much. But I think her question is most interesting, because that is a core element. There's a broad discussion about talking about the leadership of women is different from the leadership in men. Should it be different? What role does a woman play among all of these organizations? Because they're very interesting positions. Or should women follow certain stereotypes, and they should exercise their leadership following these stereotypes? Cristina, you wanted to add something. Well, to what the lady has just mentioned. But of course we admire many more women. But there is an endless list of women. I believe that in my case, women are the ones that have supported me the most, because I think that we are good accomplices of each other as women. I've got a lot of godmothers and different people that sponsor me. This is not a matter of comparing this, but this intuition that we have as women helps us considerably. And I also acknowledge the fact that men don't have these other elements. It's not that we feel weaker, but there are other physical circumstances that have something to do, which are a strength for me, because at the moment when you become more sensitive, you embrace more realities. This brings me to the fact of touching directly the issue of the crisis, the emergencies, how leadership is applicable in these circumstances, because I really think that true leaders really show up under these emergency moments when there's a possibility of your company having a bankruptcy. You know, let me tell you, as an analyst, we still do not know what impact this will have within the following months. We're already feeling this in the United States, in Europe, but I think that much of the pain that will be felt in this country will not take place until December, January, or February. We are living through a very difficult situation for Mexico, for the Mexicans. I think that here we should identify the leadership that the country should have in these critical moments. So my question is, which are the characteristics that a leader should have in a moment of crisis, in an emergency moment? Can you hear me? Maybe we can switch microphones, because I think that everything, precisely what we are doing, you know, to speak out loud, I think that there are many strengths. I have a very interesting anecdote. When I got to the textile industry 10 years ago when I started my company. Everyone was complaining about China and how we were going to survive. And well, I said, how do they think they're going to be competitive if they keep on using patterns that were used 20 years ago and they haven't been creative in the design area? I think that everything has to do with the design of life, of people, the design of what you're planning to create. This is the way of visualizing in all areas where you want to get and how you want to get there. So personally speaking, our brand is now a well-positioned brand, and I really think that the most important niche is the luxury niche. Everything that has to do with the lux, there are going to be more poor people, there are going to be less wealthy people, so human beings are going to be looking for that niche. So I think we're never going to be able to compete with China. On the contrary, we simply have to look for these niches, these windows in all the different areas of life, and work even more, creating a full awareness in our environment.
To carry on with this subject, but by looking at other tools and regarding other subjects, one thing that comes up is leadership style, because we have different styles. One style that comes up during an emergency, or other leadership styles that come up at different times. Leadership styles that come up when you work with people that know the subject matter very well, or other leadership styles, for example, when we have other situations where you try to create consensus on unknown people to you or people unknown to the leaders. So I would like to focus on the leadership style. I would like to know what type of leadership style you use. How would you describe yourselves as leaders? What type of style do you use? This is like self-reflection, is it not? Personally, I believe that we should be totally plural. This is in my office. Anytime something serious happens, or anytime we need to consult on something, we listen all the way from the janitor all the way to the CEO. Sometimes you have to be authoritarian, but you should always listen to the others also. You have to be plural, although in sort of a hidden or disguised way. I would like to add up something. I believe that in our country we lack governance. We need to be tougher in terms of governance because we have been far too flexible. In other countries, governments do not ask, and we need much of a rigid governance here. We have some minutes left, and I presume you want to leave some recommendations here for the audience. Because, this was a forum on leadership. We're talking about, things that will be discussed, that were discussed and we will be discussing here, where we are talking about tools, leadership experiences, and your recommendations, your comments will be important, will be very valuable, because in the end, here you're gonna step up, you are going to go to your jobs to exercise these recommendations. So which are some of the recommendations that you have? Who would like to start off giving us some recommendations just as last final remarks? If there's no struggle, there's no change. We always learn along the way. You always learn. And basically, what I believe is most important is to pass on this enthusiasm to the team, to believe in the team, and to raise awareness. I believe that Mexico is a young country. Mexico badly needs to start exercising this at home with our children, with our family. This is the most important. And I believe this way we will have a better Mexico. You have to be very straightforward. When someone is positive, that person is positive. But if someone is negative, try just to discard that person. Try to be positive and try to have a good attitude.